That was a little tiny box down there. Good morning, Wake and Takers. How are we doing? We're here. We're ready. It's week 6. It's go time. It's Thursday, October 9th. Appreciate everyone for coming in today. Just going straight into it today. Got the normal Thursday show here for you. The starts, the sits. Bring me all your questions. You know, I love doing this on a Thursday where I just get to go and riff with you guys and kind of help you talk through some things. I also, as always, brought my own takes here. So I got some guys that I'm higher on the consensus and some guys that I'm lower on than consensus, and just really looking to make sure that you guys are ready to go for the weekend, ready to go for week 6, because it is go time. This is the like turning point of the season where you got to start making your run if you had a slow start, and you got to keep your foot on the gas if you had the strong start. So we really got to make sure that we're locking in the best plays, and there's a ton of injuries out there. The slate looks juicy. It does. There's a lot of high scoring over-unders, but I'm also kind of concerned. Are we kind of being set up for a trap week? Is it not quite what we think it's going to be? I don't know. I still got quite a bit of the overs, but it's on a lot of the lower scoring games, and I have a lot of the unders on the higher scoring games. So I think that maybe things might be a little bit swinging too far week to week. So I think we're going to be somewhere in the middle. I think it's still going to be a great week for fantasy football. It's going to be a great week for NFL football. And I'm just excited, man. I mean, I'm excited. We got the Thursday night game tonight. We have Philadelphia versus the New York Giants. I don't know how exciting that game's really going to be. I got a bad feeling, if you're a New York Giants fan, that the Philadelphia Eagles are just going to come in and take out a lot of anger and frustration. There's a lot of built up anger every year. It feels like there's some form of built up nonsense going on in Philadelphia, and unfortunately, they lost last week in a game that they probably feel like they shouldn't have lost. They probably feel like they got screwed out by the refs a little bit. I don't think so, but the Philly fans definitely do. They can't accept any accountability there. So I got a really bad feeling that the get right game is going to be at the expense of the New York Giants and at the expense of Jackson Dart, rookie quarterback. Talking about this game in terms of fantasy football, not really excited about starting any of the Giants. I'm still going to stick with Cam Scatterboo, just because I think that he's still going to be the primary back. Tyrone Tracy is supposed to be back this week. He's cleared from from an injury designation, so it looks like he's ready to rock this tonight. But I don't know how much they're really going to work him in. I think they're going to try to get him some work, but I got a feeling that we're going to see more like a 65-35 split in this first game back with Tracy. But to be fair, I saw someone else talk about it on Twitter. I don't remember who to give them credit, but I did see it's not a bad thought that Tyrone Tracy's been out for two and a half weeks now. He's probably the freshest on a short week here going into Thursday night. We might see him a little bit more than we think. It really depends on how healthy he is coming off of that injury. If they waited until he was feeling like 100%, then I think we see more of a 50-50 split that I expected when they're both Scatterboo and Tracy are healthy. But I mean, for right now, we roll with the data that we have, and that is Scatterboo is performing admirably and on the ground, in the air, with the opportunities. So I'm going to stick with that. I think you still got to stick with Scatterboo just in case he does get the 65-70% of the opportunities here for the Giants. I don't know how efficient they're going to be. I think if he is efficient, it's going to be through the air, because this Philadelphia defense is still stout on the ground. I get it. They aren't the best on paper right now in terms of fantasy points given up to the running back position. Philly's given up 21.2 fantasy points per game to the running back position, but they've also faced some pretty big running backs out there. So I don't fully buy into the raw number there. I do think that it's a little bit skewed due to the fact that Philly's played some good running backs here. So there's hope for Scatterboo, but not 100%. And I think Tyrone Tracy, if you are dealing with a lot of injuries, there's not too many buys this week. We just have Houston and Minnesota, so we're not scrambling too hard there. Just Woody Marks, Jordan Mason out for the running back. So if you are hurting at running back due to injuries, Tyrone Tracy is a desperation flex play, but I would rather wait and see what the snap share split and the opportunity share split looks like with Scatabo and Tracy being back out there. But I do think that Tracy is more of the pass catching back. He's a converted wide receiver. So if they need a little bit of a spark, I think that Tracy could provide that in like the swing game and the screen game, something along those lines. And honestly, Jackson Dart, I'm not very high on him this week. Obviously, he had the rough week last week against New Orleans, 3 turnovers. And like I said, I think Philadelphia is hungry. So I think they're going to be coming after the rookie. So I think that he could scramble his way to a decent fantasy football game. But I also fear that the turnovers could be abundant tonight. And it could get ugly real quick here. On the Philadelphia side, the 2 easy ones, you're starting Hurts, you're starting Barkley. Don't care what the passing game looks like, those 2. Set them and forget them. We'll talk about A.J. Brown a little bit later. We'll definitely be talking about A.J. Brown quite a bit. I'm more confident in A.J. Brown than what the world or what the fantasy Twitter is. I think that we're in for a big A.J. Brown game, but I also think that you're fine starting Devonta Smith. He's been strangely consistent for all of like the turmoil and all of the panic that's been going on. He's been getting the targets. He's been putting up decent games. It's just we haven't seen a lot of passing touchdowns out of Philadelphia, so except for Dallas Goedert. So I think we see a little bit of a shift here, but I do think that Philadelphia is going to use this as a get right game, as a tune-up game for this passing offense, because I mean, Philly's been interesting this year. Like they're obviously 4-1, could have been 5-0 if they didn't blow the lead against Denver. So what they're doing is working, but also it's not sustainable in my opinion. So they definitely need to get some stuff together. And it doesn't feel like it. Like it feels like, 4-1 should be 5-0 type team. You don't need to be getting stuff together, but they definitely need to be getting some stuff together. Alex, good morning. Welcome in. How we doing? Hope you're ready for week 6, man. It's a fun one. Like I said, we only got 2 buys, so there's a lot of points on the board, a lot of high scoring names out there. And like I said, Minnesota and Houston aren't really the biggest teams, fantasy teams out there right now. So a couple big names that we're missing, like Jefferson, Nico, but really not too much out there. So we should have a good week this week. Jamie, how you doing? I'm gonna take a sip of coffee real quick, guys. Apologies. Not gonna lie, had a long night last night. Got the puppos over here. He's not feeling too good. He was up throughout the night feeling pretty sick, and then my 2-year-old's going through a little bit of a sleep regression. So coffee number 2 definitely needed. Wake and take Brandon mug. Finally got it. Got to show it off. Got to bring it to every show now. Hoping to make Jason proud with this one. But going to go ahead and move on into the news. We do got some updates here on some injuries. We got some new guys popping up on injury report. It's just kind of a little bit of everything. But first, I'm going to start with the biggest news from, what was it, yesterday? Brain's not even working on it. But yesterday, we'll go with yesterday. Joe Flacco traded from the Cleveland Browns to the Cincinnati Bengals. Hallelujah. Salvation. Look, everyone's sitting here saying, oh, you're going from the worst quarterback to the second worst quarterback. I'm sorry, but I just don't think that Joe Flacco is truly the second worst quarterback. I don't think he's good, but I think he is a huge step up from Jake Browning. I get it. Offensive line, bad. But Joe Flacco is a veteran quarterback. He knows, like he's worked with every sort of offensive line. He knows good O-line, he has time to throw the deep ball. Bad O-line, get the ball out quick. He knows how to work the game. How long has he been around? He wouldn't be around this long if he didn't know how to operate in all these different scenarios with different offensive lines. And you want to sit here and say, oh, well, he looked really bad with the Cleveland Browns this year. Okay, so you're telling me he looked bad with Jerry Jeudy, a banged up Cedric Tillman, Isaiah Bond, Njoku. There's no real excuse there. I'm not sure I thought they had a good connection. And then Harold Fannin, a rookie tight end. You're telling me that those 5 guys are going to equal Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, even Noah Fant and Mike Gesicki are arguably in the same boat as David Njoku and Harold Fannin. So we're sitting here like the weapons are just so much better in Cincinnati that I just don't see like how anyone is like, I get it. It's not the best. It's not the best case scenario for Cincinnati, but it's better than Jake fucking Browning. It's better. Like, I get it. I get it. And Jamie, I see you. Flacco just signed his death notice going against Parsons this week and TJ Watt twice in the next few years. He was already facing TJ Watt twice. He loves the AFC North. I don't know what it is about the AFC North, but I mean, it's just I understand the fact that the O-line is bad. I understand that he is not what he was even 3 years ago when he was propping up Michael Pittman, when he was propping up Garrett Wilson a handful of years ago. I get that, but we don't need that to be better than Jake Browning. We don't need that to be better than Jake Browning. And again, bad offensive line. He's going to get the ball out quick. We see the ADOT drop for Chase. We see the ADOT drop for Higgins. We see Chase Brown get peppered with targets out of the backfield. That's fine. That's better than what we're getting. Outside of the garbage time against the Lions, Jake Browning has looked terrible. Even in the garbage time with the Lions, he still looked terrible. He just happened to hit Chase for a bomb. So I think it's overall good. It's what we were all asking for. We're asking for a change. We're asking for a trade for a usable quarterback. And guess what? It's not like since he's dedicated to establishing the run with Chase Brown, we're going to see Flacco chuck the ball 50 times a game. I love it. I'm here for it. Everyone wants to sit here and poo-poo on what Flacco is going to do for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm on the opposite side of that. I'm still like, I think it's better. I'm not going to say good, but it's better than what we had. So that's where I stand with Cincinnati. If you guys got other opinions, let me know. I know Jamie's disagreeing with me here. I get it. I get it. It's not great, but it's better. Let's see, Alex, we got here. You traded Kraft and Giddens for Charbonnet and Mason Taylor in your RB depleted keeper league. I like that. I mean, Giddens obviously is nothing but a pure handcuff. And honestly, we saw Amir Abdullah in there in garbage time when get a touchdown. So I don't think that if Jonathan Taylor does go down, it's just we take all of the Jonathan Taylor touches and we push him over here to Giddens. That's not what they're going to do. They're going to split up the backfield. Giddens is a rookie. They brought in a veteran like Amir Abdullah. So I definitely think that that's a good move. I love Tucker Kraft, but he's going to be inconsistent. He's a roller coaster. He's going to be up and down, where he's got the potential for the big blow up games like against Washington. And he's got potential for just a standard 5-6 point outing because Jordan Love spreads the ball. Josh Jacobs can take over a game. So I like that. I love Mason Taylor. I think the targets for him are absolutely insane. And Charbonnet is a weekly flex option for the fact that he's the goal line back. Like he's been getting the goal line back work. Ken Walker has been, if he scores a touchdown, it's from outside like the 25-yard line. So I like that for you, especially if you're desperate for running back. I think that's a good move right there. Good move. Can't start Brashard Smith as your RB2 again. Everyone's all over the Brashard Smith train, and I think eventually we might see it. But he's a gadget type rookie player in the Kansas City offense. That just doesn't scream usage to me. That doesn't scream stability to me. So I love the play for you there. We got Trump Forest 4-1. Need to upgrade at wide receiver. Just traded DK and White for Nico Collins. Decent trade. You got Nico, Devonta, Olave, McLaurin, Hunter Cup, running backs, or CMC Bark. I mean, you're so set at running back. That's fine. You traded Rashad White, who will go back to a handcuff plus back, and DK, who is going to be inconsistent this year. And you got Nico, who I think is on the upswing. I think that's a good buy low right there. Obviously, you don't get to use Nico this week with him being on bye, but I think he definitely ups your ceiling there. He ups your ceiling and your floor a bit there over DK. So I like that move for you there. Another good move. You guys are just making great trades this morning. Just keep bringing me the good trades. I love hyping you guys up. I hate having to come in here and be like, I don't like that, but I like this one, Tron. I like that one, Alex. I like it. Fantasy Condo. Sipping some coffee. Good morning. How we doing? Oh, yeah. We got Lonely Stoner 401. Not lonely anymore in here. What up? We got 12-team PPR 2-2. Help me set my lineup. Two wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex. We got Chase, London, JSN, Waddle, and Flowers. Holy hell, those are some wide receivers. Running backs, Kyron, Scadaboo, Rashad White, Hendo, and Al-Jair. I mean, I'm starting Jamar Chase. I'm starting Drake London. I'm starting JSN. Honestly, I think you go 4 wide receivers here. You go Chase, London, JSN, Waddle. For running backs, I'm going Kyron and Rashad White there. Again, you guys are just setting me up with some layups, making me look real good. Whew. Yeah, I'm going Chase, London, Njigba, Waddle, 4 great wide receivers right there, locked and loaded. And then you got Rachaad White in another smash week here. I don't think Bucky Irving is coming back anytime soon. So Kyron, easy smash. Rachaad White with all the work, easy smash. I have no problem benching Scadaboo against Philadelphia tonight. Great there. Love it. Jamie, you made a trade the other day, but you're in 30 Dynasty League, so you can't remember what it was. I feel that. It's so funny. On Tuesdays when I'm going through my Dynasty, like just looking for like the pickups, like I'm like, do I want to make a trade? And then like all of a sudden I go down like a rabbit hole, and then it gets lost. I get lost in the sauce too easy when I start looking at my Dynasty team. So they're going well. I know where my rebuilds are. I know where my buys are. So I at least have that down. Bouncing back over to the news though. We know that Omarion Hampton is missing the next 4 games with the ankle injury. He is on the IR. So we had the debate on Tuesday, Kamani Vidal versus Hassan Haskins. We have a third fighter to enter the ring here, and that's Nyheim Hines, who was with the team in the preseason. Didn't make the roster, but they brought him back. So he's got a little bit, Nyheim Hines has a little bit of familiarity with the Chargers system. He's got a little bit of familiarity in there. And we know what Nyheim Hines is. He's a pass catching back. He's also special teams. So I'm not reading into this too much. It could be another gross 3-headed monster running back room here. I'm still sticking with Kamani Vidal as the guy that I want for this backfield for the next 4 weeks. But honestly, it could be any 3 of these guys. But I think if I had to rank them in order, it's still Vidal, Haskins, Hines. I just think that they're going to keep the ball in Justin Herbert's hands as much as possible. Like, I don't think like Hampton had 2 good games before he got injured, and it wasn't really because of the offensive line. It was very much because of the things that Hampton was doing himself. We saw him struggle early on in the season where he just wasn't able to get a whole lot. Looking at Omarion Hampton's run block rating on Player Profiler, it was 24th overall out of all running backs. So it was not good. And it wasn't even against like stacked boxes. He had only a 3% stacked front carry rate, number 31. And he was stuffed 16 times, a 24% stuff rate for Omarion Hampton. So I just don't think that we're going to see a lot of running the ball here, and especially successfully. So like those 16 stuffed runs, 24% for Omarion Hampton has me terrified for Hassan Haskins. So that's why I didn't want Haskins, because I think that he is a between the tackles grinder. He's a battering ram. He might get the goal line work, and that might be what puts him above Kamani Vidal. But Vidal has more of a well-rounded skill set. He's got the pass catching ability. So does Nyheim Hines, but Alex agreed with you here. Hines seems more like a special teams replacement for Haskins. That's 100% how I saw it. He could work in still on some third downs. He could work in the passing downs. But I truly think that it's going to be Vidal who's going to be the most trustworthy out of this backfield here. If the Chargers are going up against a bad defense, which, I mean, to be fair, this week, Miami Dolphins front 7, kind of gross. So maybe it is Hassan Haskins, but I think it's a very movable object versus a very stoppable force with the Chargers offensive line and the Dolphins defensive line. So how it shakes out, I'm not quite sure, but I'm still sticking with Vidal there. So that's the news. Like I said, I'm not reading into Nyheim Hines signing too much here, but just something to watch out for. Watch the snap shares, watch the opportunity shares here, and see who's working where. Trone, I see here, no one picked up Vidal in your 12-team league. Would you drop Rashard Smith for him? If you need someone to start, if you need someone to start like in the next couple weeks, I would do that. I would drop Vidal for Rashard Smith. But if this is just like a stash spot on your roster, I'm keeping Rashard Smith because we know 4 weeks is done and Vidal might not even be on the active roster anymore. It'll be Hampton. Whereas with Rashard Smith, we could see the usage start to like increase as the year goes on. I'm not confident in that. So if you need to start in the next 4 weeks, I would take Vidal over Rashard. If you're just looking for a stash that you are like hope that explodes with like an injury in front of him for like a long-term injury, then I would stick with Rashard Smith there because Pacheco and Hunt aren't exciting. So Smith is the most exciting one out of those 3. but that's where I'm at right now. I got Jamie in here. You traded away Hawkinson and Walker in a rebuild for Henderson and Reed. You already have McBride and Tyler Warren, so Hawk was on your bench. Plus, I'm high on Hendo as well. Oh, dude, that's a smash and a half right there. Hawkinson is just I don't know what's going on with Hawkinson. For like, normally we see these Iowa tight ends just come in and like can be consistent, but he has just been consistently bad. And Ken Walker, we know is I don't think he's destined to be long on the Seattle Seahawks, and I think that's a great trade. He's at a 50-50 timeshare right now, so if you could have gotten Travion Henderson and Jaden Reed, who, I mean, those are two great buy lows right there. And Dynasty is crazy, especially like you said, you didn't even need Hawkinson. So that's amazing. You guys, dude, what the hell have you guys been doing this week? This is amazing. Great trade there. We got SBF. Who would you start out of these three this week? Wan'Dale Gross, Hollywood Gross, or Alvin Kamara? Questionable against a tough matchup. Ooh, that is really gross. Obviously, you got to watch out for Alvin Kamara's injury designation. If he doesn't seem like he's playing, or if it's like a last second start, it's tough for me to sit there and say that I want him. Like you said, it's a bad matchup, and it's not like he's even getting the volume to keep you in it. I probably go Hollywood Brown. I think that this is going to be like one of his last weeks here of relevancy before Rashee Rice comes back. I think that the Kansas City Detroit game is going to be high scoring. I think that the Detroit secondary is beat up. I know it very intimately. Detroit secondary is beat up right now. That's where Kansas City is going to beat the Lions, is if they are successful in the passing game. So I think I go Hollywood Brown there. Wan'Dale, I don't trust him right now with Dart, and Kamara's tough to trust right now as well. So I think I go Hollywood there this week. All right. So yeah, so that was it. Thank you guys for the questions. Please keep them coming. Like I said, I love it. That's what I love about the Thursday show. It's like I have my show sheet, but I don't even like it. It's there to just kind of get me back on the rails. But you guys are what drive this show, so I appreciate the hell out of it. I love it. Going to some injury news here. Kyler Murray did miss practice on Wednesday with a foot injury. He did leave the game on Sunday, came back in, still finished the game out. But something to definitely keep an eye on today and tomorrow is how he's looking. I think Jacoby Brissett is the backup there right now, and I don't think that's a big step down with how Kyler's playing. Obviously, Kyler's got the scramble ability, but if he's got a foot injury, scramble ability goes way down. And I'm not sold on Kyler Murray as a pocket passer. That's never been where he's best. He's always best on the run. He's doing the run and gun, making things happen on the fly type deal where he's running around. Like we're looking here and yeah, like clean pocket. He's at a 70% completion percentage, which is good. Number 15 in the NFL. So he's not been terrible, but it's not his forte there. We always see the biggest plays from Kyler when he's getting out of the pocket and finding someone deep downfield. So I do think that if Kyler plays, it's a bit of a downgrade. And if Brissett plays, it's obviously a little bit of a downgrade. But I think that a pocket passer like Brissett might help Marv and McBride pop a little bit this year. We've seen flashes from both these guys. We know that McBride is just the stud of all studs when he's super targeted. We know that they're trying to get Marvin Harrison involved a little bit more. So I think that Brissett might actually help Marv a little bit. And even if Murray plays with the foot injury, I think that helps Marv too, because it will force Kyler to be more of a pocket passer. And we just know that Marvin Harrison, that's kind of where he thrives, is on timing routes. He hasn't really been we know that he hasn't been in sync with Kyler Murray, and I think that's because of the whole scramble thing. So we'll see. Obviously, everyone on the Arizona Cardinals downgraded a little bit here because of this, because no matter what, if it's hurt Kyler or Jacoby Brissett, it's a downgrade on what we normally see out of this offense. So temper the expectations there. Another little bit of news on the Chuba Hubbard front. He was out at practice, like doing warm-ups, but he wasn't in the practice gear. He wasn't in like a jersey or anything. He was just kind of in street clothes, kind of warming up, talking with the team. So it kind of looks, we'll keep an eye on today and Friday, but from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing on Twitter, it seems like we're going to get another week of Rico Dowdle RB1. And I mean, I love when the data and a big game and the narrative, they all just line up, because we're about to get the Rico Dowdle Dallas Cowboys revenge game. And I'm so here for it. Like I loved Rico last year. Rico was one of my guys last year. And if he can go into Dallas and just completely drop another 30-point game on their head, I would be so happy. It would just be so much fun. And obviously, like for fantasy football, we love seeing shit like that. So keep an eye on Chuba Hubbard. Keep an eye on the Panthers practice reports to see if Chuba is out there practicing. Also with the Panthers practice reports, Jalen Coker potentially coming back this week, and that could be a nice little boost for this offense to kind of get them going. They had the good week last week, so we want to see if they can keep that rolling, and Coker could be a little bit stability out of the slot here for Bryce Young. Some more news on the injury front. We have Brock Bowers is still considered week to week, missing another week here, almost guaranteed. But Michael Mayer cleared the concussion protocol and is looking to be back this week. So I don't want to confidently start him, but he is someone to keep an eye on for maybe next week, or just someone to keep an eye on while this Bowers injury lingers. If Geno can get it together, if he can open his eyes and he can maybe figure things out a little bit. We did see Albert O get quite a bit of targets this past week, and Michael Mayer is a much better tight end than Albert O is. He's not quite as explosive, but he is still a very good tight end. He's kind of like just a Brock Bowers light type deal. So we could see Mayer become a little bit of a tight end streamer option for us here in the next week or two, but I'm not confidently saying, I'm not telling you to go out and get him now. I'm not even telling you to go stash him now. Just keep an eye on Mayer, keep an eye on Geno, and see what we're doing in Vegas. Sorry about that. 1 second, gonna mute. Sorry about that. As usual, guys, on Thursdays, he gets a little, he's in my office with me. He gets a little jumpy. Jamie, what kind of coffee do I drink? I prefer cream or sugar or black. I prefer the cream and sugar, but just a little bit. I'm not trying to go like Dunkin' Donuts. Like I love Dunkin' Donuts. Don't get me wrong. It's more of a nostalgia thing where in college, whenever I'm cramming for an exam, I was just a giant smoothie and a giant Dunkin' caramel iced coffee with way too much cream, way too much sugar in it. That kept me going. But now I've kind of gone to where I'll do like a little splash of like some Chobani creamer, and then like one little teaspoon of sugar, but nothing too sweet. I don't want to have like the super bitterness, but I do espresso. I have a Cafe Bustelo espresso. I got the espresso machine because, I mean, like I said, I lived in Miami for a little bit. I had the cafecitos and all of that, and I can't go back, especially with two little ones that I'm chasing around. I don't know if you guys can see the bags under my eyes, but the things that keep me going is coffee and fantasy football. So that's definitely what I do. What about you, Jamie? Are you a black coffee or you like the cream and sugar? Oh, needed another sip there. Like I said, had a long night last night, so definitely trying to subsidize with the caffeine today. Had to double check, make sure I unmuted myself there before I'm just sitting here talking to myself. But we always see like Wednesdays, especially the longer we get into the season, that guys are just going to pop up on the injury report here and there. So I'm not really going to like go into too much on a lot of these guys. We saw Amon-Ra pop up with a wrist injury, limited participation. I'm not concerned. That feels like a veteran rest day. But one that did catch my eye was Quentin Johnston with a hamstring injury. Like I said, it's just a Wednesday practice, and he was only limited. So I'm not really I'm not overly concerned, but it's definitely something that kind of like the spidey senses tingled a little bit there. And I'm like, what are we doing here? So I'm going to keep an eye on that one for you guys. But keep an eye out as well for Quentin Johnston. He's got a good matchup. Miami is very, very susceptible to the deep ball, and that's been QJ's wheelhouse this season. So if QJ does not play, I think Ladd McConkey gets a huge bump and becomes like a top 12 play, honestly, with some target consolidation and some like more downfield targets becoming available. Keenan's got his area, so keep an eye out on Quentin Johnston there. Jamie, you drink it black because you're broke and can't afford the good stuff. Hey, coffee's coffee, man. Like as long as it does the job, as long as it got some caffeine to get you going, that's what I drink it for. I like I said, I do the Bustelo because it's the strongest stuff out there. It's not like it tastes good, but it's the strongest. But that is what I got for the news for you guys today. Like I said, going to be jumping into the starts and the sits. I got, as I always do, I got the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, the tight ends, the defenses now. I'm starting to do that. As I told you guys, I have started to do my journey on the Fantasy Pros ranking competition. I'm not in it. I'm not in the accuracy competition because I just joined. Week 5 was the first time that I put rankings out there. Bradley Stalder reached out to me and said, "Hey, I see that you do some rankings. Why not try to go for it?" So I reached out. I'm starting to do that now. So I have the ECR, their ECR versus mine, and I'm getting my rankings posted out there. Hopefully 2026, I can join the accuracy competition and you guys can go ahead and see the data that proves that I am good at this. I promise you guys. But also with these like big differences here, these big swings, you can really take advantage in the DFS, as I'm always talking about every single week. I love doing the fast drafts. They're super quick. And we talked about it on Tuesday. The Flex 6 Frenzy has gone from 10 team pods to 18 pods. So even more points, even faster drafts. You can go ahead and just knock these things out like crazy. It's fun. It's exciting. I love doing it. I was trying to figure out if I could do it on my computer so I could do a draft with you guys live here, but I couldn't quite figure it out because I just couldn't. But going to go ahead and pass it over to the Podfather to talk about the Flex 6 Frenzy. Like I said, he's going to say 10 team pods, but that has been changed this week to 18 pods. Let's get it.
I know your sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops, because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 Frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun, and as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Love it. Like I said, 10 teams down to 8 teams. Faster, more points, more fun. If you guys are going to go ahead and jump into some fast drafts, make sure you're using code JOwensFF to get a $50 deposit match. Just free money right there if you haven't used Fast Draft yet to go ahead and jump into more drafts and make some more money. Alex, I see you, Colombian with almond milk or espresso. The espresso's got my heart, man. Like I can't not have espresso. Jamie, your co-host, is the number 3 IDP ranker on Fantasy Pros. That's fire. That's awesome. That's amazing to see. IDP is something that I dabbled in with some dynasty leagues, and I could not quite do it. I could not wrap my brain around the player pool like that. So to be number 3 on IDP ranking is awesome right there. Love to hear that. We got Jhang20, Barner, or Fannin. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. Let's see here. Let me take a look at the tight end matchups real quick. Initial gut call says Fannin. I know that we've had some big games out of Barner, but I think that I'm gonna lean Fannin here because we're seeing a lot of 12 personnel out of Cleveland. I think that continues here this week with Dylan Gabriel. Seattle is going up against Jacksonville. That's right. And Jacksonville is pretty good against the tight end position, only giving up 8.5 fantasy points per game to the tight end. So Because of that, I definitely think that the way to beat Jacksonville is the wide receiver position. They're, giving up 29 points. So I think it's a big JSN game. I think Barner obviously is a weekly touchdown threat. So I don't want to sit here and say that you shouldn't consider it, but I do also think that Fannin is a weekly tight end threat, and I think that Fannin sees the field more, and I think that he sees more targets than Barner. So I'm sticking with Fannin on this one. I know it wasn't as good this past week with Dylan Gabriel as it was with Flacco, but I'm sticking with the rook there with Harold Fannin. We got SPF back again, having to start 2 out of Jawan Jennings, who I don't know if he plays. Kamara, who also don't know if he plays. Hollywood, Wandale, and Zach Sharp. So rough. Oof. Yeah, you did. This is the same. Yeah. So it's tough in these streets right now. The injuries are getting oppressive here. And we're not even into like the big bye weeks where there's like 4 or 5 teams on bye. So good luck to you, SPF. I hope that Jennings can go ahead and get out on the field for you, because I think he's going to be. I think Jawan Jennings is going to be fine as soon as he consistently stays on the field. We saw him come back and go out with a rib injury, and then it was just like, just stay on the field, please. You signed an incentive contract. Get on the field. Happy you're late. You think you missed the May talk. Have not talked quarterbacks quite yet, but welcome in. Hey, better late than never. Happy. Appreciate you coming in. Hurts tonight or May in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. I'm going to go with Hurts. I think that I think that this is going to be a statement game for the Philadelphia Eagles to try and quiet the haters. And I mean, Hurts is a weekly threat to score 1 to 2 rushing touchdowns. So in a 4-point passing touchdown, I think it definitely leans towards Hurts. We've seen May do some rushing, but we haven't quite seen him do the consistently in the red zone. So I lean Hurts still, but I love May. So I'm not going to sit here and say like May's down on my list. May's top, like where is he at for me? Where is he at? Where is Drake May for me? But yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. I'll find my Drake May ranking for you in just a second here. With all this Kendra talk, yes. With all this Kendra talk, keep Devin Neal in mind, because if Kamara gets traded or is injured and misses an extended period of time, Devin Neal will definitely split with Kendra. Will definitely split with Kendra. I don't think it'll be anything where it's like usable. Like I don't think he's gonna handcuff plus type role in New Orleans, but it is definitely like if something happens to Kendra, if Kamara does get traded, if something happens to Kendra, Neal is the next man up in that role. And we've seen success out of these running backs in New Orleans. It's not like they're like the two of them combined, Kamara and Kendra, have looked good. We just haven't had enough work one way or the other to really be fantasy relevant. So that's why there's this dark cloud over New Orleans running backs. But I think that like as a unit, they look good. So if we see someone take a bulk of these carries, a bulk of this work, it could be flex worthy here. But yes, Drake May. Yeah, Drake May. I mean, I'm down on him compared to ECR right now, but he's still in my top 10. So I just don't think that he's going to be needed that much. We saw in the Buffalo game that Drake May was great for the NFL, great for New England, but it didn't show up on the stat sheet because he didn't get the touchdowns. And we could see the same thing here against New Orleans. So I like May. He's got top 5 potential on a weekly basis, in my opinion, now that he's kind of stepping into his own here, but definitely going Hurts over him this week. We got Quincy here. Morning, Quincy. Welcome in. Welcome back. Good to see you. 1 wide receiver, 2 flex out of Garrett Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Henderson, and Chase Brown. I mean, I don't like Garrett Wilson this week due to the matchup. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit here. But you got to stick with Wilson as one of the flexes. Sutton's your wide receiver locked in, and I'm probably flexing. I'm flexing Wilson, and I don't want to. Henderson and Chase Brown is rough. If you just want 8 points, if you're okay getting 8 points, and you're not looking for like this crazy big week, I would go with Chase Brown, because we've seen Chase Brown consistently put up 8 points, 8 points, 8 points. And with Joe Flacco back there, he should get fed a lot in the passing game. Again, he had 8 targets this past week, still only turned it into 8 points. So If you're okay with an 8-point floor, I would go Chase Brown. If you're shooting for a big ceiling play, I would go Henderson and hope that Antonio Gibson being out means that Henderson does get increased work and does actually do something with it. So that's my take. Sutton locked in. Garrett Wilson has to be locked in because those other two are kind of rough at the flex. And then I would take, like I said, Henderson as a ceiling play, Brown as a floor play there. We got J-Hang20, welcome in. I'll start 2, Carter, Henderson, Franklin, Vidal, Travis Hunter. Thanks. I'm sticking with Michael Carter. I think that he's got some great locked in volume there with Arizona, especially after DeMarcado's fumble. I get it. Like, he's not cut from the team because of the whole Gannon getting fined and everyone that whole blow up on Twitter there. But I'm sticking with Carter because of the volume. Also, with an injured Kyler, you think they might lean on the run game a little bit more there. And for the second one, I probably go Troy Franklin. I like this matchup for Denver against the Jets. And I get it. Franklin's been kind of quiet the past couple of weeks, but he's still running the second most routes. He's still getting the second most snaps. And we know that Sauce is going to be on Sutton for a good chunk of the time. So it's going to be a lot of opportunity for Franklin to really have another big blow up week here. So Carter and Franklin for me there. J-Hang. Quincy got another one for me here. 2-2-2. Henry, Dobbins, JSN, or who's JSN? Why can't I think of that? Pollard, Spears, Vidal, QJ, Myers, Hunter, Cup, Bourne, Hagen. Holy cow. Oh, I don't like starting Henry. Dobbins locked in. Is that JSN? Am I reading it wrong? If it's JSN, easy, locked in. QJ if he's playing, yes. Oh man, this is a toughie. Dobbins locked in. JSN locked in. QJ locked in. JC, okay, Ja'Cory Kroski Merritt. Okay, yeah. So Dobbins and Kroski Merritt locked in for sure as my 2. I probably still flex Henry as one of my flexes, and then I got QJ locked in as a wide receiver there. Wide receivers looking a little gross right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably go QJ and Myers locked in as my 2 wide receivers. Actually, let me scratch that. If we don't see Jawan Jennings out there and it looks like Ricky Pearsall's out again, I'm going to switch that to QJ and Kendrick Bourne locked in as the 2 wide receivers, and then 1 flex here. For the flex, I probably stick with Tony Pollard. I think we see more Spears worked in this week, but I think that the bulk of the carries are still going to go to Pollard. So I'm sticking with Pollard there. So Dobbins, Henry, Kroski Merritt, QJ, and Bourne are where I'm going there. That's a lot of reading. Fantasy Condo, you thought one of your dynasty rosters was mid, traded away Puka, Genti, and dimes for Burrow, Ward, a first, a second, 2 firsts, 2 seconds. I mean, that looks like you won that trade there. Quincy, no worries on the JCM, man. We're typing quick here, no worries. But yeah, no, that looks like a good trade for you there, Fantasy Condo. You guys are bringing these trades to me today, and it just sounds like you guys were smashing the trades this week. So congrats to y'all. Hell yeah. Makes me feel like I got to go out there and start making some trades, get something favorable going for me. But I am going to jump into my own starts and sits here today. Like I said, we do this every Thursday. I love it. I love the show because we get to have a lot of discourse here, a lot of talking back and forth. It's not just me regurgitating everything we saw over the weekend. So here we go. We're going to get going. Starting up with my quarterbacks here. I'm starting Bo Nix. I told you to bench him last week. Was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago? I told you to bench him not too long ago, but I'm locked in right now. I think that Bo Nix is a top 5 quarterback this week. He is the ECR. He is the consensus quarterback 14 from what I downloaded yesterday. So I am very, very high on Bo Nix. I think that it's the New York Jets. This is very much an easy matchup. We saw Dak tear him up for 4 touchdowns. We saw Aaron Rodgers tear him up for 4 touchdowns. We did see a game from Josh Allen that was quiet, but that was because it was a James Cook takeover game. And to be honest with you, I don't think we see that out of Denver. We saw in another tune-up type game against a soft defense in Cincinnati that Sean Payton had Bo Nix out there chucking the ball 40-something times. I think that this is very similar. I think that they're trying to keep Bo Nix in a groove. He had the little bit of a rough start to the season. So I think they're trying to keep him in a groove here. And I think that continues against the soft Jets defense. I think that it's very good. A very good matchup for him all around. Like I said, I think that they're gonna keep him passing. They're gonna keep him in a groove. So that's why I like Sutton, even with Sauce Gardner kind of following around. I like Troy Franklin this week, and I like both these running backs. I think that Dobbins and RJ Harvey get work like we saw in Cincinnati, where it's not going to be all Dobbins. I think Dobbins is who they go to in crunch time when they need someone that they trust out there. But I do think they're also trying to start get RJ Harvey going. So I think we see very similar to what we did with the Cincinnati game with Denver, where it's going to be a bit more of a tune-up game, and they're just trying to get everybody involved and keep Bo Nix in the flow here. So that's why I'm very high on Bo Nix this week. I think he's set up to have a big passing game. And also the Jets against the rushing quarterbacks, I only looked at what Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield did because Aaron Rodgers not running. Who else did the Jets play? We had Aaron Rodgers in week 1. The Jets played Josh Allen in week 2. They had Baker week 3. Week 4, it was another not very mobile quarterback. I remember looking at this last night. Yeah, Tua's not running anymore. And then in week 5, it was it was Dak, who isn't really running too much this week. So I really only looked at Baker and Josh Allen, since they are the semi-mobile quarterbacks similar to Bo Nix. And in those 2 games, they were averaging about 50, like a little over 50 rushing yards per game. And Nix is has the 8th most rush attempts of all quarterbacks out there right now. So I think that he's got some floor, and he's going to have the potential for a big passing game against this Jets defense. So fire up Bo Nix. Jets are bad. I don't even know if we get some Fields 4th quarter magic to even make it a game, but I think that Nix keeps the pedal on the metal. Sean Payton wants to keep him in that groove, and I'm riding that wave here. On the flip side of who I am benching, I hyped up Daniel Jones when he first had his first 2 big games, and he has cooled it since. We have seen a lot less rushing out of him, especially in the red zone. They have had zero problem just handing the ball off. Once they get there, I think they're trying to protect Danny Dimes a little bit better, and they honestly haven't had to risk him. They haven't really had to have him out there trying to run for his life and take an extra hit where it's not necessary. They want to keep him healthy because he's playing well. He's playing well from an NFL standpoint. Hasn't really translated the past 3 games to fantasy football. He's 3 straight finishes outside of the top 10 after weeks 1 and 2 being in the top 5. So like I said, we've seen it cool down, and a lot of it has to do with the rushing. The Indianapolis Colts have had zero problems just handing the ball to JT and letting him do his thing. And against the Arizona Cardinals, I see nothing different here. I think this is a big JT smash week. The Cardinals are very soft against the run, and they're not bad against the pass. They're a little bit like, they're not great. They're middle of the pack, but I think with some guys coming back from injury on that Arizona defense, and the fact that Kyler might not play and we get Jacoby Brissett, like I said, we either get an injured, hobbled Kyler or we get Jacoby Brissett. I don't think that this is a competitive game to force Daniel Jones to have to do too much. Right now, he is the ECR. He is the consensus QB 12, but he's my QB 18. I think we see what we've seen the past 3 weeks, where it's all right. It's not killing you. You're not getting like sub 10 points, but you're not getting a top 5 finish from him. So that's where I'm at right now with Daniel Jones. So avoiding right now in terms of quarterbacks. I think that there's a lot better plays out there, a lot better streams out there. For reference, I'm also very high on Matthew Stafford this week again. I think that he going up against Baltimore, I think that Kyron, Puka, and Adams and Stafford all can have amazing games. So definitely guys like that I'm taking over Daniel Jones right now. Flipping back over, let's see here. We got SPF, Jets, Mets, and Nets fan here. Not sure I have him. Yeah, that's rough. Jets, Mets, and Nets is tough one. I mean, Detroit fan, so I had my time in the basement in all sports. Even like what was supposed to be Detroit's like only whatever, Hockey Town. We are Hockey Town, and we still had that big, long, dark period of the Red Wings being terrible. Finally starting to, be on the upswing there. Haven't quite got over the hump yet, but I mean, Tigers pushing for the World Series this year. Come on. Eat 'em up, Tigers. Pistons looking gritty. So things are on the upswing for Detroit. So I feel you, hang in there. I get it. New York, especially the Jets, Mets, and Nets have just been similar to what Detroit went through, where it's just there. It feels like there's no hope, but it'll come eventually. It will come. I promise you. I don't promise you. I can't make that promise. Things are just so much tougher in New York because the spotlight's always there. So hopefully you find someone that can take the heat. I do like Aaron Glenn. I do think that he's going to be good for the Jets long term. Obviously, this season it's not panning out too great. Maybe a little bit too much emphasis on building the team around Justin Fields, but I'm not giving up quite yet there. Mets, I got nothing to say about the Mets, man. Quincy, would you trade Igbokwe and Krosky Merritt? How would I wait? I'm a little bit confused by your question. I might need you to clarify that one a little bit. Is it Igbokwe and Krosky Merritt and Henderson for Puka, or is it one or the other? It's Igbokwe and JCM or Igbokwe and Henderson for Puka. I think I understand. Okay. It's an or, not for. Got you. So Igbokwe and JCM or Igbokwe and Henderson for Puka. I do Igbokwe and Henderson for Puka, although I think Igbokwe is gonna be fine. I get that, like, you're selling high and like Puka is like he's on pace for 2,000 yards, and I think that continues. So if you are going to do one of those trades, if you do feel the need to do that trade, I would do Igbokwe and Henderson for sure to get Puka. That way you can keep Bill as he starts to ascend here. Because I don't think I'd want to. You still have CMC and Achane as your anchors at running back. So yeah, if you're gonna do one of those, I'd do Igbokwe and Henderson for Puka. Stafford top 10 this week. Jamie, I got Stafford top 5 this week. He's a consensus QB 11 right now. Top 5 against Baltimore. He's gonna be throwing 1 million touchdowns. No doubt in my mind about it. I love Stafford. I don't care what anyone says from Detroit about Stafford. Stafford's the GOAT. Flipping back over to my starts and sits those. Keep the questions rolling though, guys. Love it. Going to be jumping to the running back position here. And I'm going to be saying, let's sit Jaylen Warren this week. They're coming off the bye. He's coming back healthy. He looks perfectly fine in terms of health. That's not my concern here. My concern is Kenny Gainwell looked really damn good in his solo game. I get it. It was against Minnesota, who is not great against the run this year. But you would have to be crazy to see that performance from Kenny Gainwell and be like, you can get 20% of the carries again, and we're going to go straight back to Jaylen Warren coming off of an injury. Again, not concerned about the health of Jaylen Warren, but it's an injury that happened. Kenny Gainwell, big performance. Like, I just feel like the two of these together means that we're going to see at best a 50-50 split. I think we see a 50-50 split here with Jaylen Warren, and it's a bad matchup. Cleveland has just shut down every running back. I get it. Warren is the pass catching back. And that's how you get running back production against the Browns. Like, we saw David Montgomery have like 1 point, and Jahmyr Gibbs had a solid game, but Jaylen Warren isn't Jahmyr Gibbs. Kenny Gainwell isn't David Montgomery. So I'm not looking to start either of these Pittsburgh running backs, but I do think that right now everyone's a little bit too high on Jaylen Warren. He is the consensus running back 25 right now. That's very much in the starter range. And I got him down at running back 33. I'm not looking to start him at all if I can avoid it. This is just a gross looking game here in terms, like, just in general. I mean, we got a 38.5 point over under. Pittsburgh only as a 5-dog favorite or 5-point favorite. 5-dog, a 5-point favorite. They're still only projected to have 22 points. That's not good. And it's not going to come from the ground game. I promise you that. So I definitely benching Jaylen Warren this week. Again, I did not understand his consensus running back 25 ranking. I get it. He had 85% of the opportunities in week 3, and then he got injured, scratched week 4, and then they were on bye. So I understand that like we're just looking at week 3 and then just prescribing it to week 6, but that's crazy to me. I think Gainwell more than earned it here, and unless Warren can bust off like a big screen for a touchdown, I think you're very much disappointed starting him this week. Someone that I am excited to, I don't even like, it's not even excited, but like someone that I'm confidently starting is Rhamondre Stevenson against the New Orleans Saints. Until proven otherwise, and I mean, we even saw Vrabel talk about it. Like he doesn't care about the fumbles. He trusts Rhamondre Stevenson, and everyone's sitting here talking about Antonio Gibson going down helps Travion Henderson, and it does. It absolutely does. It gives him the opportunity to show why he was drafted in the second round, to show the speed, to show something. But it also helps Rhamondre Stevenson. This goes from a 3-headed monster backfield to 2 guys. So at worst, 50-50. And we've seen Rhamondre be the guy that they're leaning on in the red zone, in the 10 zone. Like it's very much like, I think that until proven otherwise, you start Rhamondre Stevenson if you're starting any New England running back. And I think that he's perfectly fine on a weekly basis here. He is the ECR RB28. He's my RB24. So he's locked into that, not locked in. RB24 isn't locked in, but he's a running back 2, in my opinion. I think that if he scores a touchdown or so, you're feeling a lot better. The only reason I don't have him ranked higher is because I don't know if he gets the touchdown or not. We could see a low scoring game here in New Orleans, in the dome, that just ate up Jackson Dart. Obviously Drake May much better than Jackson Dart, but I think we get a solid game out of Rhamondre and a potential touchdown out of him. So that's why I have him ranked higher. That's why I'm starting him. I don't mind flexing Travion Henderson if you're dealing with a lot of injuries. I think that this is a potential right here. No Gibson. Like I said, at best for Henderson, it's a 50-50 split. At worst, it's like a 40% opportunity share for him. But the thing is with Henderson, that can be enough. That can be enough. And we just need to see it. And we haven't yet. So that's why Rhamondre Stevenson is going to be my start for the running back position here for the New England Patriots. Feel comfortable starting him up. Good morning, Jonathan. How we doing? We got PPR pick 1. We got Wandale or Michael Carter. Michael Carter, easy for me. I get Wandale makes it seem like the PPR makes Wandale seem like a little bit better, but we saw Dart last week. He only got what was it, 6 targets to Wandale. He threw the ball 40 times and 7 targets for Wandale. So against this Philadelphia Eagles defense, I'm not feeling confident about that. I think that, again, I talked about it at the beginning of the stream, if you guys want to go back and watch that after the fact. But this game very much feels like a statement game for Philadelphia, and I think that they're going to just eat Jackson Dart. So Michael Carter, guaranteed volume in a better matchup. I'm going to go Michael Carter there over Wandale, who might just get locked down here. And it's not even going to be his fault, but Michael Carter for sure for me. And at the same time, like Michael Carter had 5 targets and 5 catches. So that's PPR floor right there too. Amari DeMarcado in the doghouse kind of helps him hold on to that passing game role a little bit more. Flipping to the wide receiver position and sticking with the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. AJ Brown is my start, guys. Like, you got to start him. I understand that it just has not been there this year. It's been, we just hear every single week the frustration, the trade rumors, the just separation between him and Hurts. But it's AJ Brown. He has a 27% target share. That's insane. Like, this isn't someone that I'm going to talk about later who hasn't been getting the targets and has blow up potential. This is AJ Brown with a 27% target share. There is just a mental, emotional, physical disconnect right now between AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. And the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions looking to go back to the Super Bowl. I don't think they're looking to trade AJ Brown. This isn't a team that pushed the chips in all in last year to go to the Super Bowl and they're falling apart and looking to rebuild here. This is still a Super Bowl caliber team that needs to get it right, and they have a soft wide receiver matchup this week against their in-division rival off of their first loss of the season, this is a get-right game for A.J. Brown. This is a get-right game for the Philadelphia Eagles passing game. They don't have to do it. I get it, because they can just run Saquon a million times. But we saw this again. We saw this with Denver against Cincinnati. When you are in a rut, when you need to get someone on your offense going, you use a bad matchup to do it. You don't wait until it's crunch time and you need A.J. Brown to save your game. Obviously, you can still do it, but the time to do it is against a bad passing defense, and that is the New York Giants. I get it. The game plan, the game plan right now is going to be get A.J. Brown the ball, make him feel happy, make him feel confident. That's the game plan that I feel like is going to be told to Jalen Hurts. If that happens in game, I don't know, but I'm banking on it. I'm leaning on it. I actually put the question out to the Profiler Now Twitter page here. I said AJ Brown. Let me pull this up for me because it's really small on my screen there. AJ Brown may have raised his target share up to 27.3%, number 13 of all wide receivers, top 13 in target share. But he's only broken 10 fantasy points one time this season in his big blow-up game, week 2. Do we think that he breaks that low 10-point bar tonight against the New York Giants? And do you trust him in your lineups? There were 3 options out there. Yes, big boom. I'm nervously starting him. And nope, something's wrong. Only got 31 votes on this one. I'm a little bit disappointed in that one. That's my bad, guys. I'm trying to make these polls engaging. But, sometimes it's tough. But, I mean, look at this here. We got, 80%? 80% saying, yes, you got to start him, with 52% saying big boom is incoming. It's happening. Like, it's got to happen. It has to happen. Only 20%, 19% saying that, no, something's wrong. I just think that, yes, there is something wrong, but I think tonight is the night that they get it fixed. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. If you're watching this after the fact or listening on the podcast, let me know in the comments if you think that A.J. Brown is going to blow up Thursday Night Football, big game. I mean, right now, like I said, the bar for this is 10 points. If you don't think he's going to get 10 points, I'm sorry, but that's craziness to me. I get the woes, I get the issues, but it's A.J. Brown. Jamie, you like Devonta too? Giants allow the second most points to slot wide receivers, and Devonta's playing 55% of snaps in the slot. Devonta's been, all of the talk has been about A.J. Brown because of the quiet whispers of his unhappiness have turned into just this roar of screaming every single week. Every single media outlet, they love to pick at the Eagles, deservedly so, because the Eagles are the Eagles. But Devonta Smith he's been consistent. He's been very quietly consistent. There's no issue with Devonta Smith as a weekly start. He had 10 targets last week. I get it. Against Tampa Bay, only 2 targets, but 9 targets against the Rams, 16 points with a tutty. I think that obviously he can be game scripted out. That's just what happens with Philadelphia wide receivers. But I think that he is the most consistent one on this roster. AJ Brown top 15 this week. Yeah. Where do I got him? Yeah, that's about where I'm top. I got him wide receiver 13 in my median projections here in my median rankings. He is the consensus wide receiver 18 right now, but I got him at wide receiver 13 right now. And I think that, like I said, that's just being conservative because he could completely be game scripted out if they just don't address the situation. They don't address the elephant in the room and hand the ball off to Saquon a million times. Jonathan, thoughts on Kendrick Bourne this week? Should I grab him and take a chance on him having another good game? Keep an eye on Jawan Jennings. If Jennings misses another day of practice today and is trending towards out, I don't hate that, especially if you're dealing with injuries. I think that Bourne can have another good game. I think that the San Francisco game is going to be a high-scoring game. We saw the shootout last week between Seattle and Tampa. Tampa has hit the over 3 out of 5 weeks now, and that's just kind of how they roll. San Francisco has been kind of all over the place, but they've been dealing with injuries, so I don't take too much stock into what their over hit rate is, but I'm sticking with Tampa to hit the over there because I think Baker's going to force them to do it. So if Jawan Jennings does miss, I do like Kendrick Bourne as a flex play. And honestly, if you're truly desperate and it's like full PPR, I still say go for it because I got a very strong feeling we get another week of Mac Jones, and they got that connection. They got the connection from New England, and I think it's just it shows last week that Bourne's finally comfortable in the system. Mac, and when he's pressured and he's looking for something, he's going to his guy Kendrick Bourne. Flipping back to my start sits, I talked about it a little bit earlier with you, Quincy. You brought him up, and I'm sitting Garrett Wilson. I mean, not like full sit, but like this is more of like a temper expectations type deal. Obviously, he's been amazing, but he's been the benefit of the garbage time merchant that is Justin Fields, and I don't know if we get that this week in against Denver. Garrett Wilson is the consensus wide receiver 10, and that's fair. He can absolutely do that still, but in this matchup with Patrick Surtain and what's going to be another blowout, in my opinion, I don't have confidence in Garrett Wilson. I don't have it's not Garrett Wilson that I should correct that statement. I don't have confidence in Justin Fields to deliver to Garrett Wilson with pressure in his face and with Wilson going up against Surtain. I think it's just a very bad recipe altogether. He could, like, the way that Garrett Wilson saves you this week and outperforms where I have him at wide receiver 23 is in garbage time. Because we saw Denver, they use Surtain to shadow when it's a close game, but in blowout games, he's not shadowing as much. He's just kind of sticking to one side of the field. So if that becomes a situation where it's a big blowout and Surtain's not shadowing Wilson anymore, or just gets pulled off the field because it's a blowout and they don't want to risk him, I think that Wilson can deliver at that point. But I'm not trying to bank on garbage time production to lock a guy into my top 10 or top 15. So I'm saying temper your expectations here. Also, I mean, this Denver defense is insane right now. They lead the league in sacks with 21 sacks. The next highest team is about 15 sacks, if I saw that correctly. And really, Fields is not great under pressure. He only has a 36% completion percentage under pressure. That's number 33 of all quarterbacks. There's 32 starting quarterbacks, and Justin Fields is number 33 when pressured in terms of completion percentage. So I think that if we do see anything out of Fields, it's not going to be in the air. It's going to be on the ground, running for his damn life. So I'm afraid for Garrett Wilson because of that. I think the volume will be there, but I think it's just not going to be the type of volume that you want to have locked into your roster. Obviously, injuries and what he's done this season, it's tough to take him out of your roster. But I'm just letting you know, maybe start a more boom-worthy type flex to try to counterbalance this. Because I don't think you're getting the floor from Wilson this week. Moving right along to the tight end position. We talked about Harold Fan a little bit earlier, but my start is actually going to be David Njoku. Pittsburgh is giving up the fourth most fantasy points to the tight end position so far this year. They even gave up touchdowns to like TJ Hawkinson. So like mid-ass tight ends have been performing well against Pittsburgh, and I think we see it again here. Like I said, we saw with Dylan, we only have one game of Dylan Gabriel to really gauge this off of. So like it could swing. It could have just been what happened last week doesn't happen moving forward, but that's all we have to work with, and that's what I'm working with right now. We saw Fannin and Njoku both on the field a lot. I think that's the game plan for Dylan Gabriel, is to keep tight ends in, run the ball, do play action and quick passes to get the ball out of his hands. And Gabriel did fine. He did perfectly fine. It wasn't pretty, but he didn't have turnovers. He got the ball to where it needed to be, and they put up a fight this past week. And I think that's what we see here this week in Pittsburgh. But if we're looking at these two tight ends, Fannin and Njoku, I'm leaning Njoku because everything we saw out of Fannin was very short, very close to the line of scrimmage. Whereas with Njoku, he had the most air yards and targets he's seen all year with Dylan Gabriel. We did see a lot, like we saw like 50 plus air yards for Njoku, and we only saw 6 for Fannin. So while I think that both are touchdown possibilities this week, I think that you just get a little bit more yardage upside with Njoku here in this plus matchup. So that's why I'm leaning Njoku over Fannin. That's where I'm going here at the tight end position for Cleveland in particular. Love finishing off on the tight ends, Jamie A. I got defenses too. You know, I've been sprinkling in what I got to for the fantasy pros rankings, weekly rankings. On the flip side of this, I was a little bit excited about him coming back until I started digging into the matchup and started digging into the data. I was like, oh shit. Like I was like, Kyle Pitts, like he looked good week 4, bye week 5, and he comes back week 6 in a high over under. Like Kyle Pitts smash week. And then I looked at what Buffalo was doing to tight ends, and I said, oh, never mind. Because honestly, what Pitts has been doing hasn't been great. He's been good. He's been all right. He's been serviceable. But really outside of the week 4 blow up game where he had the touchdown, he has nothing that pops out at me. There's nothing that says, oh, Pitts is starting to roll here. He's been very mid. He's tight end 13 in yards after catch, tight end 17 in 8 out with a 6.18 out. That's low. That's low for even a tight end. And he only has 1 red zone target on the entire season. So looking at that for Kyle Pitts, where he's been okay, not great across the board. And then looking at Buffalo, who shut down Hunter Henry. They shut down Mark Andrews week 1 with no Isaiah Likely. Like there wasn't even like the hint of Isaiah Likely in a game where 1 million points were scored. Andrews was shut down. They shut down Jawan Johnson. Like Buffalo, the linebacker core, the safeties that are covering these tight ends have been putting in the work. And if you're beating Buffalo, it's out wide. It's with the wide receivers. Buffalo, let me find it here. Buffalo is giving up 24 fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position. That's solid. That's not, not a lot, not a little, but that's a lot compared to the 4.6 fantasy points per game they're giving up to the tight end position. We are set up for a very disappointing, quiet Kyle Pitts game this week. Don't tell Jason if he comes in. I'm sorry. Jason, if you're listening to this after the fact, or if you're in here right now, I'm sorry. But no, I can't do it. I had Kyle Pitts and Darren Waller. I picked up Waller for Pitts bye week, and I looked at the two, and especially I don't want to hold both these guys. I don't want to play that game. So I was dropping one. I dropped Kyle Pitts because of this matchup. I dropped Kyle Pitts, and I'm keeping Darren Waller. I think that we see more consistency out of Waller, and there's still touchdown potential there, where with Kyle Pitts, there's the big playability, there's the yak ability, but we just we haven't seen it consistently. Like I said, he's number 13 in yak. So it's not even like he's done it this year and we're just missing the touchdowns. We're missing everything. We're missing everything. He's just been good enough. Jamie, I did talk about Michael Mayer a little bit earlier. Yes, Bowers week to week. I definitely think that he misses more. Like if they give us a range, he's going to miss the higher end of the range because Vegas isn't competing. There's no point in forcing Bowers back. And Michael Mayer did just clear the concussion protocol yesterday, so he is in line to work, get some work this week. And I talked about it. I like him as I'm not going to pick him up and stash him this week, and I don't want to pick him up and start him this week. But he is someone I'm keeping an eye on. I do think that if and when Geno can get it turned around in Vegas and can start having get his feet underneath him and get this new system going, that Michael Mayer is a very good streaming tight end in the right matchups. And he could turn into a consistent guy. He's Brock Bowers light. He's definitely Brock Bowers light, in my opinion. I mean, it's not like he's a scrub. He was a second round tight end. They just happened to have Bowers fall into their lap and wanted it. So I definitely like Michael Mayer as a watch him this week. And if he pops, or if the usage, like the snap share and the opportunity share pops, scoop him up for next week if you need to at tight end. That's where I'm leaning with that. Finally, financial, how we doing? Thank you for the $2 for the $2 there. Appreciate you coming in and dropping that. We got Kai here. You think Devonta or Olave in the flex? Oh, they are really close for me, but I'm higher on Devonta Smith this week. I think that, like I said, this is a get right game for the Philadelphia passing offense. I feel like I've been saying that a lot today, but it's just, it feels like that's what they need to do. If they do it, I don't know, because I feel like I can't get in the mind of Sirianni and Philadelphia in general. Like I'm just not in that mindset. Like what makes sense to me is get the passing game right, so that way you can be rolling on all fronts moving forward. Like this is the time to get right, is against a bad defense. And then yes, Olave could also be shadowed by Gonzalez. I do think that he is a safe, especially if it's PPR. I think Olave is much safer because he's getting a ridiculous amount of targets, like 10 plus targets a game. So if it's full PPR and you just need a floor play, go Olave. I think he's the much safer pick out of these two. But if you want to take a bit of a swing here, if you do want to try to get a little bit of a boom spot out of your flex, I'm going Devonta. He is the consensus wide receiver 28 right now, and he is my wide receiver 21. So if that carries any weight for you, that's where I'm leaning. So ceiling play, go Devonta. If you just want safe PPR floor, Olave. If it's half PPR, Devonta either way. Alex, we got Khalil Shakir or Calvin Ridley for the flex in half PPR. Let's see here. Where do I got Ridley right now? Ridley or Shakir. They're really close for me. I'm going to go Shakir. I think that game, I think Buffalo does have to pass more. And I think it's still wide receiver roulette in Buffalo, but I think that Shakir is the safest of those options. I think that's like going with one of the first 12, second 12, third 12 type bets on the roulette wheel compared to just going with a number or going going with a number or some zeros there. I think that Shakir is the safest option for you there in Buffalo. I do like that we saw life out of Calvin Ridley, and it is a plus matchup, but I'm not quite there yet. I like Shakir better than Ridley this week. We could see Ridley put up another good game, but one good game and just 5 absolute garbage games does not make me feel confident. So I'm going to go with Shakir there, especially half PPR. Finally, financial, you didn't have to throw another $2. I appreciate that, though. You could have just sent the message after, but I appreciate you very much. We got Jonathan Taylor for Judkins and Krosky Merritt, or Judkins for Devontae Adams. That's tough because Jonathan Taylor's on pace right now to be the RB1. I do like Judkins. I think he is a top 15 option the rest of the way, arguably top 12 the rest of the way. If you need wide receiver help, I would do Judkins and Devontae Adams. I love the Bill Krosky Merritt breakout game. I think that it is going to lead to more of that, but I also don't want to buy into it 1 week in, because we could absolutely get Woody Marks, where big blow up game and then followed up by a quiet game where Chubb outsnaps him again. I don't think that we see that with Bill Krosky Merritt. I think this is the breakout, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So with these rookie running backs having a big blow up game and then maybe not having that carry forward scares me off of doing Judkins and Krosky for Jonathan Taylor. Because like I said, Jonathan Taylor, it doesn't look like, unless he gets hurt, he is in the running for RB1 overall. Easy. So if you're going to make that move, if you're desperate for wide receiver, I would do Judkins and Devontae Adams. But honestly, I'm sticking with Jonathan Taylor. I'm riding that wave. So, and like I said, unless you need the wide receiver piece out of this, just ride Taylor to the promised land right now. Appreciate you again though for that. I really appreciate you coming in with the starred messages with the $2 on each of those. Like I said, you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate you. Let's see here. Those are my tight ends, and last but not least, in terms of start sits, I got the defenses. Don't leave yet, guys. If you're still in here, I get it. I've been running an hour and a half on a lot of these. That's just kind of the new norm. I keep saying I'm gonna shorten it. It's not happening. An hour and a half is just the norm. But I still got the espresso shot coming up after the defenses, and this one is spicy. So I keep saying I'm going to dial down on the espresso shot spiciness, but I can't. Like I said, I need my Mustelo. I need my Cuban coffee. I need my cafecito. So I'm going to keep bringing the heat with them. But a defense that I am looking to start is the Las Vegas defense. It feels it feels crazy. It feels crazy to sit here and say that, because they got absolutely obliterated last week. But it was Indianapolis. It was Jonathan Taylor that completely destroyed them. And I do think that Max Crosby is making plays. He's doing really well out there. And we are looking at Indianapolis Colts, who are Super Bowl aspirations this year. And then we're looking at Tennessee, who was just looking to get something going. They pulled off a last-second win last week, but that felt more like they got handed the game than it was really I feel like that it was more Arizona lost the game than Tennessee won that game. I think that we can see lots of turnovers here, lots of sacks on both sides. So I think this is just an ugly game. So I'm looking to go ahead and buy in on the Vegas Raiders defense to try and get some turnover points here. On the flip side, I have the Pittsburgh defense that I'm looking to bench. They're like top 6 or something like that on the consensus rankings, and I don't like that. Like, I get it. It's Dylan Gabriel in his second game. It's in Pittsburgh. I understand that. And it's there. The big boom is there. I get that. But they're also not great against the run. They're not great against tight ends. And that is Cleveland's offense. Like, it's not like Dylan Gabriel's holding the ball, waiting for his receivers to go downfield. DG's getting the ball out quick. He's not trying to hold it. He knows what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to facilitate. He's not trying to make things happen. He's not trying to make magic happen. He's handing the ball to Judkins. He's doing play action, getting the ball to his tight ends. That's the game plan for DG. And I just don't think that sets up for a big fantasy game out of your defense on the flip side of that. So obviously you got the big names out there with JJ Watt. We had the big game from Pittsburgh before, but I think that was more the fact that Wentz was trying to make things happen. And I think that Pittsburgh is set for a very middling performance here. I think they're going to be in like the 6 to 8 point range. I don't think it's going to be anything. I just don't see the big boom here from this defense. So kind of shying away from there and bringing it into the Espresso Shot. I told you guys I got something hot for you. I got something hot for you because this guy has been killing you in fantasy football. He has been absolutely just not getting the job done, but he hasn't needed to. And I think this week he needs to. It's my boy, Jameson Williams versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that this is the week. Everything's going to connect here. Like I said, we saw the connection happen week 2 against the Bears, and they only needed one. That was the get right game for the Lions. So they got Jameson his one, and they got everybody else going too. And we just we've seen reliance on the run game, and that's all that they've needed to do in Detroit is just run. And then when they are taking their shots, it's Amon-Ra to get to the sticks. It's not been the deep shot has not connected, but the over-under on this game is 52. Detroit are dogs going into Arrowhead, which blows my mind there. Like, why are we still like, it really frustrates me that everyone is still so high on Kansas City when they're not doing it right now. Like, they're not great on defense anymore. They're good, not great. They're not great on offense. They've had like one good offensive game. I don't understand this over-under. I don't understand this line, but I could also see, because Detroit's banged up on the defense, on the secondary especially, I could see this being a shootout. So I'm gonna steer into that, and I'm calling Jameson Williams smash weeks here, top 15 wide receiver on the week. In terms of deep target share, he's number 2 in the NFL, number 2 in ADOT, number 5 in unrealized air yards. I think we see the realization of all of this in week 6 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Jameson Williams catching 1, if not 2 touchdowns this week. It's happening. It's coming here. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to try to take away what's been working for the Lions, which is the run game and Amon-Ra. Good luck with that to begin with. But also that just means that there's going to be an opportunity for Jameson Williams here. And I think that he's going to capitalize. I think that he's going to be needed. And that's something we haven't seen out of Detroit this year. We saw it in week 1 when they went down to Green Bay. But that game plan. I'm throwing week 1 out the window for Detroit. That game does not exist in my 2025 data pool for the Detroit Lions. So weeks 2 through 5, they have not needed Jameson Williams to do anything crazy. This week, they're going to need him. This week, those unrealized air yards become realized. And this week, Jameson Williams is a top 15 wide receiver. I appreciate you guys very much always for coming into these Thursday shows. They are my favorite shows. A little bit of a tease here. I'm trying to get it set up right now. I'm working on it in the background, but I want to start doing either Sunday night or Monday night recap, instant recap type deal on TikTok Live. I'm working with Jason to try to get that set up to kind of have it on my own page at JOwensFF over on TikTok, as well as the player profiler page. I'll let you guys know how that goes, but keep an eye out. I'm trying to do it this week. It'd probably be on Monday this week because the Lions play on Sunday night. So that is something that I'm looking to do. If you want more of my takes, more of my content, that is what I'm looking to do. So please follow me on TikTok at JOwensFF to keep up with that. No matter what, I'm doing it on my page. If I can get it on the player profiler page as well, that'd be even better. Would love to have that happen, but still working the details on that. But on my page for sure, I will be live this Monday night doing the instant recap. Also follow me at JOwens_FF on Twitter, and make sure that you are subscribed and get the notifications on the Profiler Now page so you can see me every Tuesday and Thursday right here, locked in 10 a.m. Eastern for Wake and Take. And Jamie, TikTok, what are we, 15-year-old kids? Look, man, I got to go where I got to go. I might try to get it on YouTube, but I just know that TikTok is kind of just where like the Sunday, Monday night traffic flows to. So that's just kind of, that's where I'm going. I'll try to work in YouTube. It's just there's with the streaming platforms and like the streaming like websites and softwares, they're not really communicating with TikTok and YouTube. Like it's either one or the other. So going to be doing it over there. If you guys can make it, great. If not, like I said, I'll try to work it on YouTube as well. I just got to try to work with Alex and Jason on what the schedule looks like. But appreciate you guys as always. If you like the content, if you like the video, make sure that you physically like it. And I will catch you guys on Monday if you can make it on TikTok. If not, I'll catch you guys on Tuesday for the recap. Appreciate y'all. Good luck in week 6.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.